Okay. The intention in these satsangs are always the same. It's not a therapy class. It's not a self-help class. The purpose is always for you to recognize what is always present in you. The innermost essence of being here. We can do things here that are very much like a little bit of therapy or understanding thoughts and feelings. We can talk about these things, but the purpose is always to recognize what is. This recognition is not a thing that's something that you can get hold of and hold on to. It's just a recognition in your experience of that stillness that is always here. At first, you might say, I can feel it sometimes, and sometimes I am taken by my mind. And that's fine. But the more you stay as it, the more you come back to it, it will stop feeling like something you come back to, and it starts showing its nature as you. This is the purpose. This is the recognition. I talked today, Sanna asked me about my first meeting with my guru, with Swami. And I remembered that I had like 24 hours that I was almost high because his presence was so much in me from that very short meeting. I met him for 40 minutes. We just sat mainly in silence and laughed a little bit together. But that recognition was so strong. And this is the most important part of the practice, is just to recognize that. All other things is just to be able to handle the ego, the identified thoughts, the feelings that have been suppressed, all these things. So when we now sit for meditation, this is always the goal. Even if I could mainly guide you, for example, in concentrating your mind, the purpose of doing that is always for you to recognize this. Everything leads towards that. So we can close our eyes. And just see if you can come into this moment fresh. No techniques, no trying, no looking for anything in particular. Just recognizing what is here. You recognize the sensations of the body. Perhaps thoughts are coming. But the important thing here is just to recognize what's in your experience. What is an expression? What is the phenomenal expression of consciousness in this moment? What is the sensations of the body? What comes through the faculties of thinking? Just recognize this phenomenal experience as it happens. Normally you may be taken by its content. You follow the thoughts in the mind. You recognize an inner voice as yours, perhaps. But instead of just going with the content of the mind, you recognize that there is thinking. that is like there is a higher frequency of consciousness that is aware of phenomena. And you just stay with that recognition. Even at first, it's come through the mind as trying. But even the trying can be recognized. And if you come back to that, you notice that everything can be recognized. And the movement of everything shows you the stillness, actually. Because as soon as something is moving, coming and going in your experience, you are not that. You have to be prior to that. There has to be something prior. Otherwise, you could not recognize that movement. It's the deep recognition of the first I in you. The I that does not have a form, that just recognizes all forms, all phenomena. And perhaps the thoughts want to have their say in this experience. They want to label it, they want to say something about it. But as soon as that happens, you just recognize thinking. You don't have to buy into anything that comes thought-wise. You don't have to touch any thought. There also has to be recognition of that. We're so mechanical, so automatic in our way of going with thoughts, always perceiving certain thoughts as they say something important about you, or tell you who you are, or your state. But notice that the thoughts are just another phenomena, coming, staying for a while, and going. They cannot stick without you believing in them. You cannot become anything without that. If you just stay as you are free. It might feel like you're on shaky ground at first, but in that, you are free. if you get lost in thoughts, taken by identification again, you just recognize that there is thinking. You come back to being a witness, this silent witness of everything. And in this awareness, you recognize if the thoughts subside a little bit, the body will be much more prominent. And when it comes to the sensations of the body, just recognize them on the level of experience. The bodily sensations are usually accompanied by thoughts, having ideas about why they're there, how it happens, what it means, all these kind of thoughts. But you just stay with the sensations, and you don't have to go into the thoughts. You just recognize the sensations of the body. On the surface level, these sensations are just warmth and cold, the sensations on your clothes, on your skin. But you might also experience a subtle tingling in the body, the subtle movement of prana. When the surface level thoughts relax and you experience the subtle body, you just stay with that. When the subtle body is there, it's very easy to stay with the experience of the entire body. If you just experience the more surface level sensations of the body, that is also fine. You just stay with that. Whatever is there, you just stay with it. Whatever the bodily sensations are, you just stay with them, recognizing. If there is emotional content, you recognize that. Sometimes that is more prominent in the experience, sometimes it's more subtle. If you have any kind of resistance in your experience, perhaps to thoughts, to emotional content, just see if you can relax that and invite all of it to be expressed. This is usually a very automatic response, and it can be a very old one, to resist the experience, to resist certain kind of thoughts, certain kind of emotional content. And if that is there, you just recognize the resistance itself. You allow the feeling of resistance. And in that deep invitation of the experience is an underlying acceptance that makes everything relax. The tension that comes is from this subtle resistance to the experience as it is. It's not conscious. So the tension usually builds in the dark, where you don't see it. Old automated patterns just identify and become tense. And as soon as you come back to this recognition, where you can just notice the experience, tension has nowhere to hide. Thoughts are seen, emotional content is seen, you are here. This recognition brings everything in your experience into the light, from ignorance to presence. It is as if instead of you moving through the experience is moving through you. You are empty, hollow, transparent, contains everything. The more you come into this recognition that the light of awareness is on your experience like this, you allow whatever state or whatever phenomena arise in consciousness at this moment. You will come to a point where instead of building tension, tension is starting to be released. Old things will surface. Old fears, suppressed feelings, will come. The mind starts to become spacious. You start to feel your emotions instead of avoiding them. Fear will subside. You will be with what is. And I just want to clarify that that is not a linear progression. Sometimes the mind is taken over. You're not sure if your practice is doing what you think it's doing. Sometimes it's super clear. This is normal. The mind becomes cluttered, the mind becomes spacious, things come and go. But this recognition, just come back to it, notice it, and you will recognize it even when the mind is cluttered. And you will realize that you don't have to like the experience. You just have to be with it as it is. Connect with the experience of the body. If awareness moves through the body, let it, or if your attention moves through the body, let it move. If the mind comes in, just recognize thinking. You are here. The whole world is an expression of you. Whatever you take yourself to be is how you will find the world. in the acceptance of this moment, there's deep peace. At first, you might be trying, and it's so obscured by the mind, trying to get somewhere. But as the recognition deepens, the acceptance of what is here, the acceptance on the level of experience, becomes prominent. And acceptance is not something you do, it's just giving up resistance. Recognizing the experience of resistance and accepting it fully. Again, see to it that you're in contact with the experience of the body. Experience your legs. On the level of bodily sensations, the movement of prana, how your feet feels against the floor, how your legs feel. Recognize the torso, the breathing, if there is prominent emotional content on the level of sensations in the body, you just recognize that. Feel your arms. You become aware of your arms, your left arm. How the sensations are. How your left hand feels. Lower arm, upper arm, shoulder, elbow. And come to recognize the right arm. No need to visualize, just to recognize the experience on the body, on the level of the level of the body. The right hand. The lower right arm, the elbow, the upper arm, and the shoulder. And from here, you recognize neck and the throat area. The experience of your face, sensations there, the back of the head, and the top of the head. And from here, see if you can recognize the entire body. From your toes to the top of your head, all of it. Open your eyes, move your body if you need to, stretch out your legs if you need to.